Well, greetings and salutations, test takers. This is Dean Tenney, aka the Series 7 Guru, and next to me, you see Brian Lee, the test geek himself, managing member of Test Geek Exam Prep LLC. We usually start with some debrief from victorious test takers, but I just got back from my off the grid cabin. Haven't had time to put that together, so we do have some 766 debrief, and I'll share that with you next Tuesday in our live stream. We always do this every Tuesday. We broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and it's available as a podcast on Spotify afterwards. So if any of those, our preferred destination to join us is YouTube because YouTube is makes it easier for everybody. But like I say, those are all the places you can find us. Tell us what series exam you're taking and where you're joining us from. We'd like to see who's in the community. If you do have a question for us, please phrase it. It's kind of like Jeopardy in the form of a question. So, if you say, I'm got a question, tell us what exam you're taking, SIE, Series 7 with a capital Q, followed by your question. That way we don't burn a lot of time by saying, hey, which exam are you taking? Because there is overlap on the exams, and the depth and nature of the questions are a little different depending on what FINRA or NASAA series you're taking. So that would be helpful. I mean, it's not, mandatory, it's just helpful. Crystal, if you are on the live stream, I will be reaching out to you for what you won. What you won was not a coaching call, Crystal. What you won was a scholarship to Brian's Thursday class. We're doing a Thursday class, 4:30 p.m. I'll let you, Brian. What's that? Anyways, let me finish up my message to Crystal. If you're not on this, Crystal, I'll send you an email. But I will change that for a coaching call if you're taking your 7. It's not appropriate for us to join us Thursday. I just got back from my off the grid cabin and haven't had time to reach out to people. Brian, what's up Thursday?
Thursday, registration of persons for Series 63, 65, and 66. NASAA's definitions, broker-dealer agents, IAs, IARs. An easy, and I mean easy, sweet way to remember who is who and who has to register when. That stuff in the textbook is like 87 pages long. We'll get it down to a page and a half. Beautiful. Thursday.
Okay. If you want to register for that class, you can do so at deantenneytutoring.setmore.com. Just go to the class. Don't go to tutoring. Go to classes. There'll be a menu there, and you can register. Once you register, it'll automatically send you your receipt, and it'll send you the Zoom invite for Thursday to join us. Okay, let's see. What else do we have in terms of housekeeping? I talked about the drawing. So tonight we'll be doing a drawing for the coaching call, but usually it's the definition. So if you're taking a NASAA exam and you win, that means you can join us Thursday. If you are not taking a NASAA exam, that means you're going to win a coaching call. Let's see. The best free supplement to your paid study materials is my YouTube channel. But if you're looking for a paid supplement, the 2 best paid supplements out there are our friend Brian. He gives us a 20% discount code for his products and services. All in is his video courses on Teachable. It comes in with the discount about $100, but he also has PDFs, his quick notes or class notes. He has beautiful practice exams. I think the closest correlation to the actual exam, and they're all in. What I mean is, we had somebody yesterday. Did she end up buying that? Brian, did she buy the $20 practice exam, Nicole?
Who might that be?
I think Nicole bought a $20 practice exam. It's a PDF, and we don't mislead you about it. It's upsetting when people send us, well, it's all it is a PDF. Well, yeah, we told you that for $20. But what I was saying is that everything you want from Brian, it's included. So if you go to the 40, you get the practice exam. If you go to the videos, you get the quick notes. So, it's what's that, all in, I guess is the way to say that?
All in, yeah. Video course, PDFs, practice finals.
Yeah.
With the code is about $95.
There you go. And, I forgot about Kaplan. And Kaplan, our discount code there is Guru10. And if you don't have a Kaplan QBank, I highly recommend that. I think the 2 best supplements is a QBank from Kaplan and Brian's video courses in terms of paid supplement. I get into it with people all the time. Do I think Achievable is wonderful? Well, not so much, but I think they're good. I love Brandon, but I just think it's a better value to get a Kaplan QBank. and Brian, that together is a little less than achievable if you're using Achievable as a paid supplement or considering it. I just think it's a better investment. All right, let's see. What else do we got in terms of housekeeping? My Kaplan schedule. I'll be teaching Kaplan's SIE August 7th. I'll be teaching the Kaplan Series 7 August 14th, and I'll be teaching the Kaplan 66 September 18th. Okay, I think that's all our housekeeping. In terms of the channel, when you're using the channel, please use the series playlist. If you want to binge, use the series playlist. Find your series exam. There's usually more than one playlist. The videos are in suggested watch order. And if you're looking for a particular topic, like last Tuesday, somebody asked about a combination. And if you just go to the channel search bar and put in combination, all the content on combinations will show up. So that's an easier way if you're looking for a particular thing that you'd like help on. All right, let's get busy on our comments here. Nico, hey, Nico, I just put up that explication you requested. So that is now live on the channel, the one you wanted me to go over, and I did so. Simple Mama, hey, y'all. How you doing? Series 7, Houston, Texas. Oh, man, I'll tell you. 100 degrees. I've been in Houston with 100 degrees and 100% humidity. I can't take it. Victorious test taker in the house. Woohoo! So if you're taking a 65 and you want to talk to a victorious test taker, we have one in the house. So, you can rely on Brian and I not to steer you wrong, but sometimes talking to somebody who's been in the cave, actually slayed the dragon, and has walked out victorious, you might want to send a question their way as well. 66. All right, Kathy. So that means you're probably on the last leg of your testing journey. For most folks, some folks that's not true, but for most folks, it's an SIE, followed by a 7, followed by 66. I call that, if you get it done, Kathy, the test-taking registration hat trick. 3 successes, just moving on, right?
Triple crown. I'm on my horse, man.
There you go. Triple crown. I only saw one new question. What is the name of a person choosing the SPAC? Oh, I like that. So SPACs, special purpose acquisition corporations, have been around for a long, long time, and they used to be called blind pools, and they're still a blind pool. What they do is they raise money first, and then they tell investors, we're going to go make an acquisition. And this is a way for the acquiring company to now have a public listing, so to speak. And yeah, thanks for that debrief. That's a good debrief.
Excellent. Dean, may I?
Sure,
would it be a person choosing the SPAC or issuing the SPAC?
Yeah, I'd like issuing better, Brian. Would you like issuing better?
Yeah.
Yeah. The target company, then the SPAC would go out and choose the target company. Right. But the sponsor is the issuer. Right now, it's in the news. Trump digital. There's a digital media SPAC that was set up to. This is what they're getting in trouble for. Some people insider trading, but nobody now involved, from what I understand, is still under the SEC investigation. But anyways, this was a SPAC, and their target company is Truth Social, Trump's media company. And they keep having to delay the vote. And, if they don't get it done here soon, they're going to have to give everybody back their money. So, we don't make the acquisition. Michigan. All right. Now, what part of Michigan? Are you one of those, what are they called? Uppers or UPs or something in the Upper Peninsula? Yeah. Or are you down in Detroit? Oakland, Michigan, which is not like our Oakland, California, Brian. It's a very ritzy place. 65 in a week. All right. Test Geek. Mock exam. There you go. Definitely worth the money, I think. So
thank you, sir.
Yeah. What's the PDF? Yeah, we would want you to buy all of Brian's, make that investment, but just the PDF alone is like $20. It's a little over 20, but I think with the discounts about 20. And I tell people to print it as a PDF and use it to make poor man's flashcards. And I tell Brian people the night before and morning of just to go through your practice exam and read the questions and the right answers and the rationales, just to get your 65 circadian rhythm going, because that's not a normal kind of a rhythm or flow. And so that can help you maybe get into that flow. Eric, I took care of the one question that you had pending. That's now live on the channel, your explication request. And the other one, I don't think you're going to see on the test, so I didn't actually explicate that for you. But that's up there now. It's live. Oh, those hurt, Jasmine. That hurts. That hurts. That really hurts. All we can say is hopefully with a score like that, I know most sponsoring broker dealers realize that that is not a lack of the work. It's just what it is. Yeah, Brian.
That's one question.
That's crazy.
On the
That's
63, 68% means you missed it by one question.
Crazy. Well, take a break, come back to it. And you'll get it done, I'm sure.
Definitions of persons.
There you go. Join us, Jasmine. I have. By the way, I think Brian's being a little bit facetious, but not really, because on the 65, that's even more important because you don't have much room for error in terms of your performance opportunities. You think, Brian? I think it's probably a bigger deal on
the 63. Absolutely.
Don't you?
Yeah.
So, you can miss more questions on a 65, 66.
Right.
There's my friend. I will definitely say, Mom, tell Mom you said hello. You're one of her favorites. She was just sharing some community coffee and chatting you up to my sister-in-law. We were drinking some community coffee, and my sister-in-law said, "Where'd you get that from?" And Mom said, "Oh, Marcel came to town." And by the way, my sister-in-law also took some of the beads you brought with you, so she's got those as well. All right, woohoo! Another victorious test taker. So we got a victorious test taker, 65 in the house. Victorious 6 and 63 test taker in the house. So there you go. Thank you, LinkedIn user. I don't see who you are. How they connect on live streams. And so I appreciate anybody on LinkedIn showing up because it makes, at least I know that it's working. But now I think they're trying to make you go to LinkedIn and create the event there and then put the link afterwards. It's a pain in the butt, but is what it is. So we'll send you good test vibes. Anything you're worried about, put it in the chat. Brian and I are more than happy to tell you if it's something to worry about or not. I just had, for example, somebody, Brian, comes up over the time. I'm going to be spending the weekend going over margin and options. I go, hey, please do me a favor, skip the margin and just spend the time on options. I said, if necessary, just to guess B on the margin questions, assign it to the universe and move on. Now, by the way, please note, if necessary, I didn't say don't learn margin. I just said in terms of the, weighting, it's more important to know options. Woohoo! Another victorious test taker in the house. 7. All right.
The big P.
I like it. Reverse order. He's done. I like it. So I usually, Daniel, I'm glad you told me that because Daniel, sometimes when people tell me they passed the 7, then I say, what is your next testing victory, 63 or 66? And now, as we said, he's done. That's the typical path, either SIE 766 or SIE 663, 65. So some of you folks have that 4-legged test journey to do. So okay, boom. Okay, well, be careful. Wow. Be careful because wow. Sometimes it's harder when you're testing with different people at the same time in your firm because sometimes it was a cakewalk and sometimes oh my God, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Which exam is it? Be careful. The draws can be substantially different. I'm glad to hear that.
It's
However,
nice
but I wouldn't, if you are 65 joining us, think that necessarily his cakewalk is going to be your cakewalk. I joke about the dream draw. Sounds like he got a dream draw. And I joke about the face of death draw, where you got to slog your way through this thing. Another victorious test taker. Woo! Jeff, listen, Jeff and I have worked together, Brian, and Jeff and I both agreed that had he not passed his SIE, it would have been embarrassing because he has enough knowledge and put in the work. And so I said, listen, don't embarrass yourself or your tutor. So make sure you get that. So now on to your second leg, Jeff. I'm glad. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. I know you're a busy guy. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Team victory.
Yeah. Boy, what are we at? That's how many victorious test takers. Are you keeping count? You got 2. I think we got more like 4 or 5.
4 so far.
Caesar, greetings and salutations, Caesar. Caesar's one of our regulars. Welcome to the live stream. Vicky, Florida. Be careful down there in Florida. Was that where we're having that heat warning? I think all of us are struggling with the heat.
I heard the ocean temperature was 90 degrees.
Can you believe that? I don't like lukewarm ocean water. I'm used to cold.
In the hot tub, maybe, but not in the ocean.
Yeah. So stay cool, Vicky, if you can, down there in Florida. Biggest surprise to me was how long most of the questions were. Very often a paragraph long, very rarely one sentence. Yes, definitely
Hear that a lot.
reading skills. I always say that one thing I like about the Kaplan Q Bank is it does stretch your mind in terms of hoping it doesn't go back to the same spot by adding extra stuff to questions. And so I think that's good practice. I wouldn't go down there thinking there's going to be a lot of gotcha questions. One thing I suggest on the paragraph long is read the last sentence first just to see where it ends up. And then sometimes I like to shop the answer set just to see what answers are available to me. So, for example, one of my answers says, as stipulated in the prospectus. I go, wow, I don't know what this question is, but I like that answer a lot. Right. So that might help you in some of those long ones for those of you who are not yet going down there to take the test. Brian's practice exams have a couple, I call them good gotcha questions. They're gotcha questions. I mean, so you thought you knew it? Ha. And he's got a couple, and that's good practice just to make sure you're, reading. Yeah. What was Daniel taking? Daniel, could you put back in the chat what exam you're taking? I'm thinking it's probably a NASA exam. I find the NASA exams to be more wordy than the FINRA exams. What's your thoughts, Brian?
Actually, I think the sevens kind of flipped
Wordy?
that now. I think the sevens gotten pretty wordy in the questions, and the answer sets are fairly easy. 65's the other way around.
Okay, there you go. Cynthia, welcome. I don't know, Cynthia, if you're joining us for Office Hour Wednesday. One of the benefits, I know Erica participates quite a bit in the office hours, and tonight we do a free live stream. So on the Dean Tenney tutoring, setmore.com, if you book a class or tutoring, then you get access to my free office hours. And I know that Cynthia participates. Erica, if Cynthia is the only one shows up Wednesday, it's an hour of tutoring at, a $225 value. And then tonight,
in the house.
Yeah, tonight we have a live stream overtime session, and we're getting some reverb on your mic, I think, Brian. It might be my mic. Yeah, that's all right though. Anyways, Cynthia, we also are doing a live stream after it's capped at 10, and it's already completely booked. But you can check out the live stream overtime, and if you want to join us for the next open session, you're welcome to do so that as well. So he's saying it was choosing. So choosing is, he said the word he saw not issuing, Brian. So
okay.
So Dean, I take the 63 next Thursday. I'm not super confident right now. Any tips? How do you know when something has to be registered with the state? Well, I would say do lots of practice questions. And then, there's the I call them buckets. I don't know how Brian would respond to this, but Billy, what I call it is buckets, of things, people or things that have to be registered. And, it's going to be either persons or the security that are going to be registered. And then there's going to be, people who don't need to be registered or exempt. That's the hardest part. You're taking a legal test. So that's why we say do a lot of questions, practice questions. I'll put a Billy on 1806. I will link to a video I have based on that. And it's called the Mighty 90. And it goes over the entire Uniform Securities Act and who needs to be registered, who not. Brian has a nice cheat sheet for that. Are we going to talk about, I don't think we'll be talking about securities on Thursday, Brian.
No, just persons.
Persons. Yeah. But Billy, you might, you're doing next Thursday, not this Thursday. If it's next Thursday, I would recommend joining Brian and I for Thursday night, that 4:30 definition. Brian's going to go over that, and I think he's going to offer some practice questions as well as a little cheat sheet. And then, Billy, that would also open up the office hour for you to join us so that you can get some help there. But in the 63, you really got to practice, drill, and rehearse. Lots of questions is what I usually tell people. Brian, your thoughts?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a nice little cheat sheet. And again, how many times, Dean, have we heard this question on the 63, 65, 66? Who has to register when, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we cover on Thursday.
Yeah. So, but I'll link Billy to a little video I think will be helpful to that. But if you can join us Thursday, please do so. The 7 is fresh in my mind. He was talking about the 7. There you go. Yeah. Practice exams were much shorter than the actual exam. So there you go. So it was the 7 he was discussing. Yeah. Is it worth it? What do you think we're going to say, Barry? No, it's not worth it. Barrett, of course it's worth it. I think as a supplement, if you here's what I would tell you. Brian is not in the Q Bank business. So Brian's not in the business of selling practice questions. So you're not going to get a zillion practice exams. So I think the Kaplan Q Bank, is it adequate? Yes. But I don't believe in being monogamous if you have the resources. So, it's not a time to be frugal. And so what I like Brian's practice test for is the strong correlation to the actual exam. And so if you're just going to buy Brian's practice exam itself, it's all a good value, but I think it's $24.50 with, I think with my 20% discount, it's $20. For $20, it's a great value. It's a great value because of that correlation it has to the exam. What I tell Barrett, if you're going to spend that money, just buy Brian's practice exam. All of it's a good value. But if you just buy that, I tell people to put that away and do that. Maybe, if you're testing Friday, maybe do Brian's practice test Wednesday. Did you get that final check? I just had somebody, Barrett, who bought the Kaplan Q Bank, and her name was Nicole, and Brian and I were just talking Monday, and I said, listen, she was worried about the correlation of her Kaplan scores. I said, you're not at risk. You're not at risk. You're doing all the work. You're going to pass. She's testing tomorrow. She's going to pass. However, I said, if you just want that reassurance of where you are in relationship to the actual exam, because she's scoring high enough on Kaplan, she's going to. I said, you should do Brian's exam. And so, I was off the grid in my cabin, and we sent her to Brian, and we sent her she got the PDF. She scored what we know will be a strong correlation to her exam tomorrow. So we're feeling good. She's going to pass. So the answer, Barrett, is yes. But as a minimum, if you're just looking for some insurance policy, Brian's practice tests, I think, are the best out there in terms of correlation. It is a practice test. So, when you're buying Brian's courses, it comes with videos, it comes with a PDF in the practice test. He's not selling you. So again, we don't want you to think when you buy Brian's stuff, you're going to get 3,600 practice questions.
You know what is
to do it, but
I think an underutilized asset as well are those 65 and 66 class notes.
Yeah.
Where you have all of that testable material down to 25 pages or something like that.
And Barrett, Brian is giving, I haven't got around to it yet, but Brian's giving me the permission to explicate that on the channel as well. It's absolutely, distillation, as Brian likes to say, of potatoes to his vodka. So he takes that, makes a very strong, powerful cocktail out of it. Happy Tuesday, Trina. Happy Tuesday. Oh, my goodness. Joseph, I love this. Let's see. We got a big one here. I'm glad to see you from LinkedIn. Love the headshot. You look like, somebody I would give some money to. Hi, Dean and Brian. Joe from Northwest Indiana. Taking the 66 on 8-8 for the third attempt. Oh, no. Pressure's on. Yeah, okay. Firm uses STC and bought the Q Bank for supplemental questions. I like that. Pass section 1 and 4, laws and regs, opportunities on session 2, session 3. Any recommendations on videos? Brian just put out a recent video on internal rate of return, and I'll link to that, Joseph, for you. I've linked to it a couple of times. I'll link to it again at 23. I'll put a link in the replay to that video of Brian's on internal rate of return. Net present value. I think you talk about it in that video too, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't really talk about one without the other.
Okay. I will definitely link to that, Joseph. I think you'll find that very, very helpful. Let's see. I also give PDFs for Test Geek. You were given PDFs? Is somebody violating
what?
and not make key concepts? Well, I'll tell you what. The other thing I would recommend, the quick sheets Kaplan puts out are pretty good as well. Those are the laminated things, Joseph. So Knopman's version of key concepts, Kaplan has a version of that called the quick sheets. And the quick sheets are very, very helpful as well. So I think they're like $20 or something. I was telling Brian how much of that they sell. Now, Brian's are pretty good. If he already has his, that's better than the Kaplan quick sheets. But if you're looking for more stuff, it is definitely available to you.
Dean, if I may just add one thing.
Sure.
I hear so many people, 65 and 66, who score highest on the laws and regs and lowest on investment vehicles.
It's pretty standard, isn't it?
So typical. And for somebody who just passed the Series 7, right? And all these folks are not passing the investment vehicles on the 66.
Yeah.
Why is that? And I think Joe's got one of the reasons that IRR, NPV, discounted cash flow.
Some different stuff on there for sure. I always tell people it's a different dragon. So I do think a little piece of it. We're not talking about you, Joseph. We're talking about the universe of 66 test takers. But that being said, the dragon is a different dragon. So we joke about I slayed my Series 7 dragon today, and I always say, go right, Dragon Slayer. And they go, now I'm going to go slay the 66. I go, well, be careful. When you walk into that cave, it's a different dragon. It's, it looks familiar, but it's a little different. Anyways, I'll link to that video for you, Joseph. Tell Brian in the comment on the video, what you thought about it. And I'm sure he'll respond and be more than happy if you have some additional questions that you can put in his comment section. I'm sure he'll answer for it. If he doesn't, then you call me and I'll say, hey, Brian. I'm trying to just backstage. I'm trying to get Brian to put some more free teasers up there on the YouTube channel for you guys. So about 9 days away, Nico, still receiving 50%. We got to get you up from there for sure. So we got to get you. Brian and I think are similar in this. We are a little less than accountability partners and test prep vendors. We think mid 70s means you're not at risk. What do you think, Brian?
Absolutely. Yeah.
50, you're definitely at risk. So the 50, you're at risk, Nico. We got to get you out of that risk area. So
yeah,
we got to keep grinding. I think, Nico, you joined us in the live stream Zoom overtime, or I think even office hours. But Nico, we can talk backstage a little more about what maybe we can do to get you into the 70 range. Yeah, they certainly do, Philly B. You should definitely, any exam you're taking, any exam, FINRA or NASA. NASA calls them test specifications. FINRA calls them content outlines. You should go to the site and print that, and it should be your companion while you're studying. So you can kind of see what they're going to do. Sometimes when I'm teaching, somebody says, well, how do you know that's not on the test? And I said, well, if it's not in the content outline, they're not randomly allowed to just start making up stuff to test you on. It's got to be within the context of either FINRA's content outline or NASA's test specifications. I don't know, Philly, what exam you're taking, but I have actually explicated the content outlines and test specifications. And one of my most popular videos is just doing that on the SIE. So check it out. You can check it out on the channel. If you tell me what exam you're taking, Philly, I will link at 27 to my video of the content outline for your exam. I start every playlist with the content outlines, how many questions on which topic, and I will do that for you. Just let me know what your exam you're taking in the chat, and I'll link to that. Are you able to elaborate on exempt transactions, exempt securities? Billy, I certainly can, and I'll let Brian take a shot. I think of exempt transactions as being exempt because of the way I sold them. So an exempt transaction is a verb, how it's being sold. Exempt securities, I think of as a noun. It's a laundry list of exempt issuers, and the only thing an exempt issuer can give birth to is an exempt security. So, for example, exempt transactions on the Uniform Securities Act would include transactions by officers of the court, trustees and bankruptcies, sheriffs and asset forfeiture for sale, that kind of stuff, liquidation of collateral, whatever the case may be. Exempt securities, governments and munis. Would you like to elaborate to that, Brian, on that?
I will try to do it without taking up too much time.
Yeah.
Again, in my class notes, I have a pretty good graphic. The first thing I always try to tell people is to understand the term non-exempt securities, which just means stocks and bonds. That term simply means corporate securities, right? I think intuitively most people know corporate securities, i.e. stocks and bonds, have to be registered, must be registered. Of course, this is law, so there's always exceptions. So exempt transactions are the only opportunities in which you can sell a non-exempt security that is not registered. A stock, I've done this actually in the real world. I've sold unregistered corporate stock to a customer. That's because he came to me and asked for it unsolicited. So it's just corporate stocks and bonds that are being sold unregistered in certain circumstances. Unsolicited transactions, transactions between financial institutions, and like Dean said, trustees and bankruptcies, private placements.
Yeah.
So it's the only place where we can sell an unregistered, non-exempt security.
And right now, Billy, this is really key. Both NASA, the North American Securities Administrators Association, and the SEC are telling crypto guys, hey, you're not in either one of those categories. Your cryptos, currencies are not exempt securities. You're certainly not an exempt issuer, and those transactions aren't exempt, which means Coinbase needs to register as an exchange, and the securities, those crypto. By the way, some of them have already been deemed not to be securities. Bitcoin, for example, but the other ones, Gary Gensler, SEC, and the state administrator are saying, well, gee, if that ain't a security, what the hell is it? And they want it registered, right? So now there's going to be all kinds of millions of dollars in legal fees litigating whether or not digital assets, key point, digital assets need to be registered, right? Digital assets, if they're securities, they need to be registered. And that's one of the new things in the test specifications is just that. Just that. I love it. I don't know if you have it, Brian McCaffrey has a sentence I love. It's like the whole exam in one thing. A non-exempt security and a non-exempt transaction.
That's right. Yeah, that's
Tipper 66 got a 71. Oh my God, Josh, that hurts.
ouch.
That hurts. Well, I think I love it. You're still fighting. You're still in the ring. And as you know, that 63, 65 will redeem the 66. So I like where you're going. I like that, you're still in the fight and you're going to go there and pass that 63 and pass that 65. And like I say, nobody will actually care about that. I just talked to somebody today and she's struggling, but she's, already an asset gatherer. So she's adding to her already things. And she was telling me she brought in like $87 million. I go, woo.
Wow.
I said, you're a very popular person, I'm sure. So she's struggling with her exams that, get her to the next level at her firm. But good news. I do think, Josh, that this does show your resiliency and longer term passing that test, your test of resiliency and then passing 63, 65 are a real indicator of how successful you'll be in the business. So, I don't think 10 years from now, Josh, anybody's going to ask you about if you had difficulty passing your exams. A lot of people do, and they're very successful in our business. So, Chase, we're going to send you some good testing vibes. Good test vibes on Thursday. Nico, with Daniel. People, I think, always discount how many mutual fund questions they're going to get. And you're going to get lots. Munis, I would add to that. I think that's really content rich. I think Daniel, good, spot on. Options, mutual funds, munis. That's big areas. All right, sales supervisor in the house, or almost would be sales supervisor. So. I like it. We have some Series 9s. We have a Series 9 playlist. I'll probably break it out because I'm getting a lot of people. We right now on the channel have a Series 9-10 playlist, and I'll probably break it out this week to be two separate playlists for the 9 and a playlist for the 10. But we do have some resources for you, Ann, in terms of the 9. We also have a Reddit. I don't know if you're already a member of it, Ann, but we have a Reddit, R Series 24. And at our Series 24, we have a lot of principals. That's both 9, 10s, and 24s, always chatting with each other during the day, what study materials they're using, victorious test takers. So if you're looking to, you're never alone on any of this stuff. But besides our live stream, besides the YouTube channel, we also have a Reddit community for SIE and Series 7. That's called R Series 7. I will link to it in the pinned comment of this replay. We have a Reddit for 63, 65s, and 66. That's called R Series 66. We have one for 6s. That's R Series 6. You get the idea. And what I like about Brian, it's kind of anonymous. So, Ann, what I like about the 9, 10, 24 Reddit, for example, Ann, if it wasn't anonymous, there'd be some people who would say things in that Reddit. I go, oh, my goodness. Oh, who are they? Maybe FINRA's listening in. So I like the idea that you're anonymous. I'm not anonymous. You will know who I am on there, but you can do that. And now, by the way, thanks for joining us from Facebook. That's great. So I love that we get some people from Facebook or LinkedIn because vast majority of our folks are joining us on YouTube. 0. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Well, John, what are you doing on this live stream? You should be getting a good night's rest. Right? So hopefully you have done all the work and you can get a good night's rest and be dreaming about your testing victory tomorrow. Remember, be confident in yourself and be confident in your answers, most importantly, right? So 1 or 2 options. I find those to be pretty straightforward. SIE next week, Kyle. All right. Well, we have lots of resources for you Kyle, for the SIE on the channel, we have 2 separate playlists for the SIE. We have a lecture playlist, and then we also have a lot of practice tests. And I will link to both of those playlists at 3452. And I'm very proud of the playlist on the SIE that I've created. So, it's a buffet. You probably can't watch 500 hours of SIE videos, but they're there. And then Brian and I have been talking. We're going to do something. It won't do you any good, Kyle, but down the road, Brian and I are talking about doing some SIE stuff together. Well, Ann, I always tell people, what you might want to do, Ann, this comes up a lot on the 9. You might want to circle back into my 7 option playlist. And if you've been a while, go through the basic options again. You can watch a replay of a basic options class I conducted. You can then watch one on hedging, and then you can watch one on advanced option strategies. Maybe you need to kind of go back and reset and review some of that. And that would be available to you in the Series 7 options playlist. And I will link, I'll tell you what I'll do, Ann. I'll link to a couple of videos for you to check out in terms of laying that base again for your 9. All right. I'm just taking notes here so I remember what I've told people I'm going to do for them. All right. Taking the Series 7 this weekend. If I don't pass first time, will my firm require me to pay out of pocket? Well, it depends on your firm, Ryan. Every firm is different in that regard. So it just depends on the firm. I would just say, why are you putting out negative vibes like that, Ryan? What do you mean if you don't pass? You're going to pass the first time. Now you've opened a can of worms, Ryan. What are you scoring on your practice exams? Is there any reason we should suspect that you're not going to make your mark? If you had 5 days to take a test, what do you do to prepare for the 7 if you're scoring 50 to 60? Well, everybody's different. I don't know. I think you got to keep up the grind. You got a real challenge because you need 2 things. You need to be doing inventories and you need to be laying base knowledge. Now, usually at this point in your study effort, you should be doing practice exams. Yeah, they're good with Brian, right? But you also are not scoring well enough to just be doing practice exams. So you're going to have to do remediation in terms of base knowledge as well. So you're going to have to lay some more base and you're going to have to do some more practice exams. You got to keep up the grind. So you're in a difficult, you're in a difficult spot based on time value, right? Time value is kind of a concept that time value erodes, right? And so your timeline is starting to collapse on you. So I would say don't go quietly into the night. You got to give it a fight. It also matters whether or not you're a full or part-time test taker, because if you're part-time, it's really going to be difficult. But if you're full-time, it can be done. So you just got to keep up the fight. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, right. We structure this quite a bit for all the exams. That last week, we want to work on the simulated exams, hopefully from Kaplan. They have very good correlation to most of the exams as an inventory, and then use the performance tracker to identify the weakest areas so we can remediate those weak areas. So evaluate, remediate, wash, rinse, and repeat, right?
Yeah.
That's the process.
There you go. 3rd attempt. Oh my goodness. Okay. Getting back for the 4th attempt. Well, I love, we have so many fighters. I just was talking to somebody today and, I just respect those people so much. Just, not throwing in the towel, just being resilient and saying, I'm going to get this done. So Sarah, kudos to you. Kudos you other test takers that are still out there, fighting to get this thing done. By the way, the good news is when you do, it's just going to be such a great feeling, right? The people who haven't suffered that misfortune don't know sometimes, and it's going to be a great, great place when you do it. And I said, Sarah, in our business, that test of resiliency, I think longer term means you're going to do well. So, backstage, there's probably people saying to themselves what I'm telling you out loud. Man, that's Sarah, man, she's a fighter, man. She's coming back for her 4th attempt and, she's going to get it done. And I'm sure there's all kinds of people rooting for you. What's that? Oh, 9. The pool was 90.
Our pool was 91.
Well, Vicky, I guess you don't need a jacuzzi, Vicky, huh? Wow. So much for dipping into the pool to cool off, Wow. Oh, man. Yeah, I think Kaplan's the best, or I wouldn't teach for him. But yeah, I think particularly Kaplan's Q Bank. I'm getting more aggressive with telling people that the Kaplan Q Bank is the best Q Bank. I mean, there's just no doubt about that in my mind as compared to Past Perfect, STC. And I found out today, Brian, or yesterday, I was tutoring somebody from Knopman, and I found out that the Kaplan Q Bank Knopman has is not a fully functional Kaplan Q Bank. It doesn't have the performance tracker, and it can't simulate exams. And I was telling the person I was tutoring, well, I think for $58, I would buy the Kaplan Q Bank that is fully functional. So that was the first time I've ever said get the Kaplan Q Bank as a supplement to the Kaplan Q Bank. So because the performance tracker is huge, and so is that simulated exam function where you can do a simulated exam. There you go, Claudia. 66 on August 5th. We'll be sending you some good test vibes. Where do you see if you have a class? Well, Jessica, so the class we're doing is Thursday. You would go to deantenneytutoring.setmore.com. Let me get that up there again. And you would go to classes, and you'll see the class that Brian and I are offering Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. It's definition of persons. Here it is again. So that's going to be Thursday. It's July 15th, 4:30, and it's $60. And for that $60, you're going to get some practice questions. You're going to get a cheat sheet from Brian, his little cheat sheet that he has. And then you also will get free office hours moving forward with me on my office hours. So that's all available for you at deantenneytutoring.setmore.com. You hit the class tab, and the classes will show up, and that will show up as Thursday. So that's how you register. If you can't figure that out, just send me an email. I'll be more than happy to manually put you into that class. So there's my email. And if you're struggling to get that done, just, let me know. By the way, don't call me and tell me you booked it, but you didn't get a receipt, because that means you haven't booked. Unless you get a receipt for $60 with an invite, that means you haven't hit the button. So, but feel free to join us. Where are we at now? I lost myself. Well, I don't know. There we go. Back to work here. We did that one. Did that. Well, Trina, we're doing one tonight, but it's already capped. So you did miss it tonight, but we take a 15-minute break, and then we reconvene in a Zoom classroom where we can have a whiteboard and do some more things. I love Brian's whiteboard, but the Zoom classroom is a little more operational to, like, if you want to go over options or things like that. So just make sure, Trina, you go. I'll have the new one up. Just go on there, and it's the first 10, first come, first serve. It's completely free. You don't have to be a student or anything to participate in the overtime. And I will put one up tonight after I'm done with this live stream, so you can register. I don't know. What do you think, Brian? Should you get the Kaplan questions, even though the test is this weekend?
I like the simulated exams.
Yeah. I'm kind of with Brian on that. I think here's why I'm going to say yes. And the reason I'm going to say yes is just because of what Brian said. The simulated exams alone, I don't know who your vendor is and how many practice finals they have, but literally with Kaplan, you can just keep hitting the button and it'll queue up another simulated exam for you.
Yeah, and one of our live streamers also was saying that that Kaplan simulated exams are really good. And the performance tracker to show your weak areas, it's the best in the business. It really is. So
I'm going to say yes. I mean, I think I believe in abundance and not scarcity. And so, you don't want to get so much stuff you can't get through it. I mean, I had a guy who, Brian, bought every test prep vendor's version of the course. And I said, listen, it's all the same stuff sliced and diced differently. So we don't want you to get in that position, but somewhere, making sure you have enough practice questions and making sure you got the performance tracker. I think it's worth the investment. Now you got to be careful about your timing, because you do have a time constraint, right? So, Cynthia, the other, there's one tomorrow. So same thing. It's complete. I think it's completely booked. If it's not showing up, Cynthia, that means it's capped and it disappears once it's booked. But I will add another office hour, and I'll add another live stream tonight. Well, that's crazy. Live courses. Brian's materials. He's putting it up there, but I'll also put it up there as well.
Yeah.
So here's where you can get Brian's stuff. Boom. And I highly recommend that. Getting a different voice, right? I also put it up there as a banner for him as well,
Thank
Brian.
you. Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's
I would.
the videos, the class notes, the practice finals.
Yeah, definitely, Sarah.
That's the site for that.
Great investment. It's about $100 for all in on Brian.
Guru 20% off.
Yeah, Guru 20. Yeah, I particularly having that different voice, particularly Brian's voice particularly on NASA stuff. He speaks in plain English, which is kind of hard to do sometimes for a lot of folks, me included, by the way. So, whoop. I almost hit the thing that ends the live stream. That wouldn't be good. Trina said she watched your video, Brian. She found it very helpful.
Thank you so much, Trina. I really was pretty proud of that video. I put it up about a month ago or so.
Yeah, I think you're over 8,000 views.
Yeah, discounted cash flow, IRR, NPV.
Yeah.
Again for 65 and 66.
Yeah, we'll link to it in the replay as well. So. Man, that's tough, man. I'll tell you that 65. That 65 takes down a lot of people. Well, you got that third attempt coming, so I don't call that a knowledge deficit. I call that some other variable. I think, Brian, what you usually say, it's test anxiety or something different. It's not that they don't know it or what.
Yeah, I basically agree with you, Dean. It's oftentimes not a knowledge deficit. It's not always just test anxiety, but it's test taking skills.
Yeah. Tough. So, Tricia, you might want to review some test taking skills. Maybe I'll make a video. I haven't done it, Tricia, but I have 2 videos called test tips, tricks, and memory aids. I don't have that for the 65, but maybe I should make one of those just to help people out with testing.
I could talk for an hour and a half on that. It's just
maybe we'll put that up, Brian. Maybe they add that to the class stuff, and maybe we'll put that up as our anything you guys want as a class or something. Just to let Brian and I know, and we'll try and be accommodate and something like that. So maybe we do something like that, Brian, where we put it up there and you can do it, and then it'll be recorded. Our business model is a little different. Brian, makes a living from selling videos, and I make a living from selling ads.
My YouTube videos, however, are free.
That video that Trina said was helpful. If you have a 24 video that I always share with 24 folks, Brian, and it's hard to believe that I know this is hard to believe. They literally told me that Brian's video on closeouts, buy-in and sellouts is life-changing. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I'm like, really? That's quite a bit. A little rich, I think. Well, Nico, I can tell you on mutual funds, you definitely need to know the difference between closed-end and open-end funds. They're going to torment you on that. So you definitely need to know the difference between an open-end fund, a traditional open-end fund, and an ETF. You definitely need to know about ETFs versus ETNs. I'll tell you, Nico, I will link at 4740 with a mutual fund video for you. It's testable for everybody. There is no exam in which you're not going to get tested or tormented about mutual funds. Your comment, Brian? Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely right. I got great feedback today on an investment company, basically closed-end fund question on the Series 65. And the students said they were kind of baffled that they hadn't seen something like that before. And I replied, this question actually is quite common. I have it on my midterm exam. It's on Kaplan. It's on SIE. Those mutual fund questions are all, and the Series 7 as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to say. Well, actually,
it hurts our heart, both of us, when we know we've discussed it. We know we have it for you there. And part of me wants to say, well, Brian, it means you didn't watch my videos. I
didn't say that. I didn't say that.
But
I did say it was in my midterm exam. However.
There you go. So it hurt. When listen, angels weep for you when we tell you something is on the exam and you still miss it. I mean, that's just, you really want to make sure that you pay attention. Now every draw is different, but we know there's certain questions. When I take a test, I like to get to the first question I know the right answer to. I go, woo, something on this exam I know. Woo, hopefully you're not 30, 40 deep, but that's just huge on every exam. The other one I get all the time, Brian, is preferred stocks on the 7. People always say, oh, I had more preferred stock questions than I were expecting. And I don't know. I finally got an answer on the YouTube channel. I said, I don't know how to respond to that because I get it all the time, but I don't know what you're expecting. And she was telling me that a lot of our vendors out there and a lot of corporate trainers are telling people not to expect many questions on preferred stock. And so that's where she said but now I ask, well, what were you, why did you have the expectation? Where did that come from? It's coming from trainers and vendors. And well, I don't know about that, Ben. I don't know about that. But I know you're going to pass, Ben. I know you're going to pass. That you're going to do well. That's a great score. I've worked with you, Ben. I think we did a 63 together on a shared screen. And, like my friend Jeff, it'll be embarrassing if you miss your mark because we know that you have the brain power, certainly, and have done the work. I should put in the work is important. So, Brian, I don't know how you feel about this, but when Ben and I were doing, I think it's the right Ben. If not, I apologize. We were doing a shared screen final, and his performance just was such an indication of the work he put in.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they were like, "Wow,
you can really tell. You can absolutely
yeah." So, and then you get the result you're entitled to, right? So that's great. I did a shared final, not in Ben's, but I did one where I've had more than 5 or 6 people in the shared screen final that's on the channel say, "Did she pass?" I don't know. It's because they were thinking she was wobbly, but she did pass. And we also did your exam as well, Brian, as a shared screen final. I'll be putting her name's Lauren. I'll be putting that up next week as well. 65. Oops, sorry, Joseph, I missed you. Thank you. Will the link be sent on LinkedIn? I don't know. No, it'll be in the replay. So you on this YouTube channel, you won't see it in LinkedIn. When you go to the YouTube channel and you pull up this video, in the video description will be the time codes, the timestamps, and then where I tell you I'll leave for you at this timestamp. That's where you find, like, Brian's video will be. Let's see, where did I put Brian's video? Exempt versus non-exempt was 2820, and the internal rate of return. So that's how you do it. Then you hit that button, and it'll take you right there. So it'll take you right to Brian's video. So that's where you'll find that. Hi, Clyde. Well, there's not many simple mama to know. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. T+1 for options and govies. T+2 for corporates and munis. I mean, there's not a whole lot of settlement dates. I mean, that's pretty much it. If you're taking 7 index options, the contracts and settlement is T+1. But I don't think there's a lot to memorize there, Brian. What do you think? I think it's pretty straightforward.
There you go.
Yeah. So, except I like it. T+2, except options and governments, which are T+1. There you go. Boom. That's it.
Done.
Yeah.
How else may we help you today?
Yeah. Well, how else can we be of service? SIE Afterlife and Health. Okay, well, that's a sequence. I'm know nothing about life insurance. I did read a good book, though. I'll probably link to it on 66 on Reddit. It's called The Perfect Portfolio, and the guy interviews Eugene Fama and Markowitz and all the efficient, all those guys, Scholes, and then he has Schiller, the guys who are in the antithesis. But one of the guys there, he said that the smartest move anybody ever made was the life insurance industry when they changed the name from death insurance to life insurance. I like it. That brings something to the table, right? I mean, yeah, that life experience is important. Once you pass your test, you got to pass your tests. But some of us, it's been a while. We were talking about this. Could have been a while since you had to take a test, and but once you get the test done, that life experience is very helpful in building a book of business or interacting with whoever you got to interact with. Federally covered security, Billy, pretty straightforward. Federally covered, there's 2 buckets of federally covered, Billy. Federally covered investment advisors and securities, New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ securities, mutual funds, and private placements. And so what that means, Billy, is that those securities do not need to register with the state under the Uniform Securities Act. So pretty straightforward. A federally covered security is an exchange-listed security, a NASDAQ security, a mutual fund, a private placement. Right? So I'll link to that. You should also, Billy, know federally covered investment advisors. SIE tomorrow. Well, make sure you get a good night's rest. Yeah, I like the title, User Not Found. I like it. Get some sleep. I don't know, Tricia. I don't know that. Just call Kaplan Customer Service. They're more than happy to tell you that. I don't think they've updated the QBank. They add things to it, so it's current. So I don't know. I don't know what you mean by you can't just choose part 1. Are you talking about the QBank itself? just call customer service and just ask Kaplan and say, hey, I got the 11th edition. Is that the most recent one? If your text doesn't match, then ask them to swap you out on the text. There you go. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, Tricia. But again, call Kaplan customer service. Just explain it to them, and then see if they can send you. I don't know what's not matching up, but see if they can match it up for you. They're pretty good at backstage on that stuff. Does have the performance record. That's good to know. That's good.
Okay, that is good to know. Yes.
Yeah, well, like I said, we don't have that for the 65. I have that for other exams, so I'll probably try and do something, knock something out on that. Yeah, well, we don't have videos on judgment questions. We do have questions that I explicate, say this is a judgment question. However, at one point, you just got to go back and find a few more points, overlearn everything. Function 3.1 is where I tell you to spend your time. Function 3 is 91 questions, and that's investment vehicles. So,
if I may add, Dean.
Sure, absolutely.
I think, again, I'm speculating, I'm inferring from what his comment is, that a lot of those were probably suitability questions. Mm-hmm. And what I like to tell people is, first and foremost, again, we've heard from several people tonight, paragraph-long questions. Suitability, right? Billy Smith, married, 3 kids, 2 dogs, a cat, a 2-car garage, does all this stuff. Number one thing, find the investment objective.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, that's going to lead you down the right
path.
I
call them the pivot words, Juan, when you're going through that paragraph, the pivot words. What I would add to the suitability questions as judgment questions is that, you need to really intellectually own the investment vehicles so that you can use that to kind of as a process of elimination. Exactly. So when they say safety of principal, you can toss out the growth fund, for example. So process of elimination can be very helpful on those suitability questions where you say, okay, I know this vehicle, a lack of liquidity partnership, for example. I do want to have suitability videos. I have a suitability playlist one for the 5706. I will link to that. And I have 4 suitability videos for the Series 7. So maybe that you can find that helpful. Why don't you check those out and see if that's helpful for you?
Can I tell a real quick story? Sure, a gal in my Series 7 class in Portland, Oregon, quite a few years ago, came to me and said, Brian, I missed the test by 2 points. She goes, I got this question. It was about 0 coupon bonds. Now, we all teach for Series 7, 0 coupon bonds are best for saving for college. Yeah. So they asked you to choose which would be most suitable, right? And one of the answers said single mom with 2 kids. None of the other one had any children. One wanted to save for a down payment on a house. One was a retiree looking for income, right? But she was the only one that had kids. And she told me, she goes, well, I was thinking a single mom, well, she's probably just barely making ends meet and probably can't afford to invest in a 0. I said, where did you get all of that? Yeah. You made all that up.
Yeah, don't bring extra stuff into questions. Oh, my God, please.
Oh, my goodness. I said, look, she's a lawyer. She kicked her bum husband, who did nothing but drink beer and sit on the couch all day, kicked him out of the house. She makes $250K. See, I can make up stories too.
Yeah. Yeah, don't bring extra stuff into questions.
Exactly.
I thought it was you, Ben. I thought it was you. And like I said, I can't imagine you're not going to you perform well just based on your previous testing victories. But reach out. Like I said, if you need some help, just reach out. So we got SIE. I'll try, Erica. I got 15 minutes to try and figure it out. So I'll try and see if I can send you the link for the overtime session. So be looking for it after our time. SIE Thursday, yeah, we all agree on that. Shot by ray gun. I'm not a big fan of AD Banker. Are you, Brian, a fan of AD Banker?
No.
I don't know of anybody who's a fan of AD Banker.
I like the family who owns the company.
Yeah, I've heard you told me they're nice people.
Yeah, I don't like their material.
You signed up for the class today. Am I allowed to send it to Trina, anyone else who wants to go, so it doesn't go to waste? You signed up for? I'm not sure, Ben. You signed up for the Thursday class?
A bit exhausted.
Yeah, if you want to Ben assign that to Trina or whoever, you're welcome to do that. I'm just not sure what class. I can't let you transfer a Kaplan class to some other person, but if you've actually paid for our Thursday class, I can try and figure that out. If you have the link, can you send it to Trina? Yeah, and if it doesn't work, then let me know. But I think that's what you mean. Oh, Jim Nash. Yeah, okay, Kathy. Right. Woo. Are you doing what class are you doing with our friend Jim? Tell him Dean said hi. I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. And what was Jim? I think Jim was in the Air Force. He was something. We always bond over our military service. There you go. There you go. Richie Holmes, man. Man, you guys with some of our old school. Was Richie around with Brian when you were at Kaplan?
Oh, absolutely. He was out of Denver first and then moved to
And Jim Nash, was Jim Nash around? Brian goes way back. We used back at the founding of Dearborn and Kaplan. I'm joking, but we both go way
mid 90s. Yeah,
mid 90s. Yeah, I think you should supplement. If you do have AD Banker, certainly supplement. Yeah, if I can stay out of the middle, guys, I'm more than happy to not get involved. But oh man, Maria, that's just tough. That is tough. Yeah, I do have some videos. I'll put up the playlist, Maria. They're in suggested watch order, and I'll put that up for you. And you got some videos you can choose from. Who's Your Daddy is one of my favorites, so I'll put them up there for you. Series 66 playlist. Okay, I think we're ready for our drawing. I don't think, Billy, you're going to know the difference between excluded and exempt. I just think that's a test prep vendor distinction. What do you think, Brian? Is there a testable distinction between excluded or exempt?
Yes.
Excluded, I mean, usually is about the definition of like a lawyer, an accountant, a teacher, an engineer. Is what excluded. Exempt is about securities and transactions. All right, Regulation BI, Nico, very testable. You need to have a client relationship summary that says that even though you're working for a broker dealer, what are the conflicts of interest between your firm, yourself, and the client? And it's kind of like I think of it as a fake version of a fiduciary. All right, Brian, what should we put in for the drawing for the coaching call? I'll let you choose. If you win, you can choose a 30-minute coaching call, or you can choose the joining us Thursday on a scholarship. Exempt, I like it. Okay, so if you want to participate, you got to put it in exactly as it reads. Let me go get this thing. Okay. Share screen. And let's get rid of Brian's thing. Get rid of that. Okay, so put if you want to participate in the drawing, the word is exempt. Caesar, I think it's got. I don't think all caps will work, so put it back in there as how it reads on the screen. However it reads on the screen, that's how you got to put it in there. Okay, anybody else want to participate? When you win, if you win, then what you need to do is send me an email to claim your victory within 1 hour of our conclusion. I don't like having contingent liabilities for months. So if you don't claim this thing in an hour, it goes poof. All right, any more? Last call. Last call. Boom. Trina, woo! So Trina, kudos. Send me an email telling me whether you want the coaching call or you want to join us Thursday. I thought you almost got a free. I don't know if you're trying to work that out with. I don't know what's going on with Thursday, but you can either join us on a scholarship for Thursday night, or you can have a 30-minute coaching call. Your choice. Just let me know what you want to do, and I'll do that. Set that up for you. Okay, let's go back to Brian and I. Boom. Let's get rid of that. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on our Tuesday weekly live stream. We really enjoy being able to help you if we can in this format. Some of you will be reconvening with me in 15 minutes, 6:15 for the live stream overtime session. And if you're interested in that you can find that at register for the next available session. It's capped at 10 first come, first serve, and office hours. Remember, inch by inch, your exams are a cinch. Yard by yard, your exams are hard. Brian?
Keep it simple. Stay with what you know. You take the test. Don't let the test take you.
All right, everybody. See you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.